I wish good things to you who's watching this. I am Alexey, and today is the 9th and last day of the first round of the International Qualifiers for the Carcassonne Champions League 2026. Three back-to-back matches is what we're about to watch. And all of them are from Q1, so the qualification tournament designed for second place finishers of national online championships. In Group D, we have our last round one encounter between the 2021 World Champion Terran PL, that's Maciej Poliak of Poland, and Kerry Alley, expert from the United States with the screen name Mingo, former captain of the United States Carcassonne team, of course a very well-known player. After that, in Group E, we're going to have a duel between Germany and France, Squallus versus Leuschi, and in Group C, in Group C, finally we'll have a duel between LordTerrycloth of the United Kingdom and Daniel Ayala of Mexico. So we're going to do a quick preview of each duel before it happens. First of all, if we have a look at the first one, Terran PL, of course, a formidable rating of 750, and the peak is even higher, and the world champion title is already a lot. Only 1,500, 1,700 games on Board Game Arena, but the quality matters over than the quantity. When we do, however, talk about the quantity of the games, this is the one metric where Mingo does have more experience and an advantage over her opponents. Her rating of 432 at the moment is not really representative. Her highest peak is 650 or something like this. And of course, the world champion will be the favorite, but Mingo has plenty of international play experience, and I know that she was practicing a lot, doing puzzles and practice games. So if there is going to be an upset, then it is this time. And if there isn't, well, there isn't. So as usual, it is a best of 3. We're starting in 1 minute or so, in 0 minutes technically. But let's just wait for Board Game Arena to catch up. Alrighty. Are we starting yet? Well, we should. If I'm not mistaken, that we're having the 15-minute format. Yeah, there we go. We have this tournament over here, right? And both players are online, both players are here. And sometimes there's like a 30-second to 1 to 2 minute delay. So do we have a game yet? No, we don't. Yeah, a very modest intro for Terran here. Just 2 of his most important titles. European champion with Team Poland. One of the 3, Poland has basically this strategy of 3 superstars, which is of course Terran, UI Scuti, and MTU. So very, very high status. Alright, don't really have anything to add to the intro. It's already going on longer than planned. Will we start the game finally? Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Okay, so the Polish player has joined. The American player has 3 minutes to join before a technical defeat is registered. The rules are somewhat harsh on this one. Anyway, The Polish player has the black meeples over here and a very nice sausage city for a start. The starting player advantage will help them as well. And not the best tile here from Mingo, but it's very interesting what she's going to do. She goes for a counter city at the bottom, which I don't think is the best response. There are kind of two standard moves in this situation. One is either starting a city on the side, which now already would have resulted into her going into opponent's city. And the other option was more high variance, just trying to add this triple city to black, trying to invade his city. Yeah, so blue starts erode on the left, whilst continuing her city as well. Erode at the top does not allow her to create a blocking platform against this here city, as the Polish player finishes it for 6 points just in time. Yeah, these opening moves, they really make a great difference. If this tile were to have been placed over here, for example, earlier on, then this city would not have been completed. But look at this. Both players exchanging monasteries. As black gets this 6-pointer, blue gets this 5-pointer, and a 3-point road back to her hand. But a fantastic tile for Tehran, taking 3 points for the road, dropping a farmer for 3 points, but a lot of cities waiting to be completed and lots of green squares. In modern Carcassonne, farmers tend to be dropped quite early. And this position is really, really good for black, because also this square is significantly restricted. There's still 2 tiles that left to fit there, but then this also means that until one of these 2 tiles is drawn, blue will not be able to put anything into this square, as doing so would expose a blocking platform against this here square. So I think if I'm blue, I'm trying to take this really, really slow. First of all, the important move that I have to play here is going over here, adding a point, and no. Yeah, not that. Adding a point and not allowing my opponent to finish a city easily. Also pressuring this square as well. This here move really doesn't do a lot because it adds a point to a road which is ultimately going to be shared. It also exposes an additional vulnerability in her city. So I'm going to say, like, the long-term strategy here for blue is to recognize that this city is not really that bad. We need to get a Dorito here first to cover it up, and then we just patiently wait until we get a horse tile. Then we continue the city, and we actually have already like a 8-point beauty, and then with a couple of other Doritos we can even threaten its completion. Yeah, look at this. Black is now trying to block that city, and Mingo gets the horse tile early on, so this is already 6 points. And I think at some point, not right now, because Tehran has this here beautiful move, setting up another monastery. Not right now, but at some point Mingo should, Tehran should try and invade this. And blue decides to spend this here valuable dagger tile on trying to create this city into a threat, and I do like that idea. Now, there are 2 attacking platforms against the city, and many might say that trying to complete the city is futile, but all it takes is our opponent drawing a couple of road tiles with which he cannot do much. Yeah, such as this. This actually does not do that much. I don't like this move from Tehran. Then, if we just go over here, for example, then suddenly our city becomes quite threatening. I don't think it's mandatory to go here just yet. We could also try other things, like we could go here, for example, try to pressure this here square. Because our city is big enough that we don't need to worry about our meeple getting blocked necessarily. We do need to be worried about our opponent invading, but there are some scenarios how they invade and we block the invasion and we enjoy a nice advantage in this here mini battle. Yeah, this here move is quite interesting. Okay, she goes like this, which is also the similar idea. Trying to just enlarge the city, but most importantly, protect it from being invaded. Tehran now finds a lovely, potentially 6-point road, going for this here loop. It's a risky move because Mingo could get herself something like a road Dorito and do something like this, right? and try to block this here meeple, but black recognizes that blue already needs this here tile over here. All the city plus road tiles will be required for blue to go here. Anyway, a scoring tile for blue. She could either place the city cap like this, and this would still leave 3 tiles that fit here, but this would most importantly eliminate some variance and not create a monastery spot. Or she could put the city cap upwards and try to create the monastery spot for herself or for her opponent. Yeah, and she goes for a similar idea. Actually, I probably like this idea even more, because at some point somebody's going to meeple this here city cap, and then this black meeple on the right is going to feel even more uncomfortable. Black starts a new monastery. Black is very aggressive with some scoring ideas here and here. So what does blue do in response? Well, option 1 is we equalize. We go here. And we both have 5-point monasteries. It is in Tehran's interest to finish his monastery first, but Mingo goes for 4 points here. I do like this idea actually better, as long as you actually meeple this, because it very nicely controls this here square. Of course, now this does not quite work, as Tehran gets the tile that he needs immediately, but maybe not so fast. For example, blue could go over here. Yeah, exactly, and creates a vulnerability into this square. It just happens not to work in this particular instance, but this is not to say that this was a bad idea. Alright, so 8 points go to Tehran's scoreboard. Mingo is -9, but some threats. She has the better developed monastery. She has this city, which will turn into something. And honestly, I think it's not crazy to just do this. Slowly and methodically, I think we should try and build the city up into something. Maybe not right now. Maybe we can consider moves like adding a city cap to our monastery, despite it being in our opponent's field. Then we just could build up the monastery efficiently and then fight for the field in the future. The main fight sync platform that I see is over here at the top. At some point we could drop a farmer like this and invade either through the center with the road monastery or just through a simple road tile like this. Yeah, right now we could also just start this new city at the top. This is not the worst idea ever. Or just start a new city on the right, something more peaceful. And she goes for a similar idea. Starting a new city at the top. I think it's a little bit imprecise because she could have continued her city somewhere, first of all, away from the main field in case she loses it. There are some scenarios how she loses the field but still win the game if she completes this big city. Or, you know, she could tie or win the field at some point, in which case it doesn't matter. Yeah, she's very aggressive now. She's now trying to score a 6-point city here and drop a farmer upon completion. And I'm very curious what Tehran is going to do about this, because he has 3 options here. Option 1, no, 4 options. Option 1, we just get a meeple back. And then we try to block our opponent on the next move. This is sort of the safe idea. Yeah, and he goes for this. Option 2 and 3 were some quick points. There were some blocking moves available as well. And Mingo gets a great tile, with which she does get to drop a farmer, but I doubt even if she even wants that. Because it only makes the field bigger and creates another field attacking platform, and Tehran does not take it. This is very interesting. This is very interesting. He chooses to go for points first, and I actually like this idea as well. He figured that he has the temporary meeple majority. He could attack here later. Mingo now wins the coin flip for the monastery, and first of all, I like that she created this coin flip in the first place, because when you're playing against a higher ranked player, you want to get lucky. You kind of want to allow luck to be a factor, and she gets the luck now. But I think she's apprehensive about the prospects of this here new monastery getting blocked, but I think she should still go for it. Because first of all, even if this monastery gets blocked, there's still going to be one more tile that fits into this square. There's still one of these teeny tiny daggers. And second, you know, if this gets blocked, then she has a chance to get herself a city camp, drop a farmer like this. So by going over here, she would expand the field and also create some more platforms for herself. And from Black's perspective, Black actually won't be able to both block this meeple and block this square at the same time. I think we take the points here. There's also this here move, which is actually quite interesting. But I don't think we go for it. I think we just take the points. And what we definitely don't do, we don't spend this much time on a move like this. Look at the time difference here. Mingo 6 minutes, Tehran 12. Oh, noise. Thank you for letting me know, Divaka. Let me know if it became any better. I think it should have. But it is quite interesting now. So this move, yeah, I thought it as an option, and I think she should have taken the points. But the idea here is that she wants to eliminate this farming platform and keep the field relatively small, assuming that she's going to have the meeple disadvantage. But maybe it's not such a big disadvantage, since Tehran meeples his own monastery, allowing us to maybe inflict some blocking on our opponent. Maybe not right now. I guess we get into the field first. Yeah, take 2 points. And now there are chances for blue to take the meeple advantage and to go for the field. Right, Tehran takes 2 points, eliminates this farming platform, which I'm not sure if it benefits him or his opponent a little bit more. Mingo can actually drop a farmer herself if she so chooses. She chooses to make this move, but without a farmer. And it's a decent move. It's a decent move for sure. There's only one more tile that's left into this square. This here blue guy is going to be trapped. Mingo now is going to get herself the meeple advantage. And almost, she just doesn't lose her meeple yet, but she gets delayed over here. There are still plenty of city tiles to try and build around. Now Mingo being maybe a little bit inefficient, trying to get her meeple back as soon as possible, but I can understand this idea very, very well. She just wants to get a meeple to attack the field, and this is really the path back for her. Now we're equal on the scoreboard. Tehran has some setups over here. These monasteries, of course, are blocked, but the second monastery is still technically alive. This road is going to come back, and it will actually come back with a farmer, interestingly, because it will reach the main field all the way through here. I think this will be the plan of Black. But anyway, like, Mingo is not going to be at a meeple disadvantage anytime soon, if ever. She's going to be either equal or ahead on meeples, and her expected meeple value, let's say, I'm not sure if such an expression exists, is basically higher than her opponent's, because she has more opportunities to get her meeple back. This here city, even this here city is not that bad. It's still live, interesting. Like, she just needs to get Doritos and triple cities, and it's still absolutely possible. Tehran is now thinking how to score, and he goes for 6 points in this here field. It creates another farming platform, which could benefit blue or could benefit Black. Yeah, Mingo now in time trouble. She decides to try and build up this here city. Tehran is thinking whether it's worth dropping a farmer. I think the answer is actually, I was going to say yes, but I can see why he wanted not to do that. Okay, so from Mingo's perspective, now this is where we farm. No. I mean, she goes for the road, which I don't think I don't think is what you want to do here. These 4 points are not going to give you that much return when it comes to your winning probability, right? I mean, 4 points are nice, but being first here or here is just so much more important, if you ask me. Anyway, yeah, and look at this. She now going to get herself blocked because she cannot take these 4 points now because we barely have, actually we have 0 crossroads remaining. Yeah, that's the type of move which I see in many situations where a bit later in the game players over prioritize scoring when it's not really about scoring anymore. It's about occupying important strategic locations on the map. It's about figuring out how to maximize your win probability. Yeah, good recognition that she is not going to try and block herself. Instead, she's going to create an opportunity for her to finish the city and get a meeple back. But this, all of that, will allow Tehran to go the first in this field attack. He goes here for 6 points. He's going to try and invade this farm. Mingo is now building up her city, which I think is a good idea, but maybe she could have actually just gone here first. I get that she wants to try and turn the city into a threat, but I think the time trouble is really becoming a thing here. Tirana blocks Mingo City. Mingo now is going to get one of her meeples back. Yeah, so there's nothing that fit into this square. Tehran has also the majority on the field, which, by the way, could have been blocked. All right, so Blue gets herself a meeple back, only -7 on the scoreboard, but her road is now about to get blocked. Quite painfully. Yeah, so now she needs to get it back a meeple elsewhere. And she tries to go for the completion of the city, which is still viable. And if she completes that city, she will be ahead on the scoreboard, and she will be even able to drop a farmer. Maybe she has to go for the farmer right now, actually. Because if she doesn't get onto the field, she's going to lose really, really badly. So I think we either go here and try to invade through one of the unique remaining straight lines, which doesn't sound that good. Or we go here and we try to invade through the last curve or a tile like this. Instead, she just gets herself an extra point. The Polish player now can disrupt this here formation by adding 2 points to Blue. I think this is the move that he will resort to. Even though it looks like he's helping his opponent, it's still the right idea. By the way, I'm getting paranoid about the audio, so if somebody in the chat could let me know how we're doing, that would be nice. For the last few weeks, there weren't really any issues. Alright, so what is Maciej gonna do here? Do we have any other alternative than going over here? Yeah, not really, but he had to calculate first. So basically, he had to calculate 2 things. Number 1, does this city ever get completed despite us going over here? Number 2, how often does it get completed if we don't do this? But in any case, it's a very, very good delay, if not a complete block. Tehran gets himself a scoring tile for 2 points over here. This also happens to be the last straight line. You can use it in a variety of other places. You can go here to eliminate some farming opportunities. You can go here as well, or here with the same purpose. Mingo now gets herself the city cap. I think she's going to try and complete this city, but I doubt if that even works. I need to do some calculations. And yeah, so there isn't a single city cap that fits into this square, unfortunately. There is, however, a road Dorito. So, yeah, it's technically live, I think. But the road Dorito is drawn by Tehran. And he just gets himself 1 point. Kerry's gonna score at the top. Yeah, there's no points in going over here because the city's already dead. She gets herself the point, and now she's going to need to attack the field at some point. But Tehran can now just go here. Close all the field entries. Well, not all the field entries. There's still an opportunity to connect at the bottom through the last remaining curve. So yeah, this is the point where he's going to count all the remaining tiles and figure out which invasion platform is the most high prob and block that. Another strategic alternative is to actually allow his opponent invade the field and go for a counter invasion. No, he doesn't do that. He blocks one of the invasion platforms, and Mingo can actually try and go for the field now. She does not do that. She still had 18 minutes to calculate, but wasn't there a curve? I'm pretty sure that there was a curve and that she could have invaded over here. Yeah, I think that this is the time trouble pressing. And she would have gotten a curve, so she would have invaded. Yeah, I think definitely a time issue again for her. And let's actually calculate how much she would have gotten. So she would have gotten 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 24, 22 extra points actually, because she would have gotten the farm, but she would not have gotten these here 2 extra points. So 22 extra points is what the play with the blue meeples would have received if she were to have gone to the farm. And actually, she should have gone for that anyway, even if she's in time trouble and can't like calculate precisely. Because the idea is, well, if we're losing the big field, then we're definitely losing the game. If we connect here, then we may be winning the game. And yeah, it looks like it's a tragic, tragic, tragic loss. Because with these 22 extra points, she would have won the game. Just a very simple invasion would have allowed her to get into the farm and win against the world champion. Yeah, and based on the frequency of her move towards the end, I think she felt like she was in massive time trouble, which was true maybe like 10 tiles ago. But if you have a minute on the clock in your penultimate turn, you still can think quite freely and stress-free for like what? 30 seconds at least, 40 seconds. Thank you, Played Mac, for confirming about the sound. Yeah, so very, very unfortunate that the American expert loses this one despite actually drawing the winning sequence of tiles. Let's see if she manages to do better in the next game. And also felt like several opportunities were slipping away. Even before that last field, it was possible to get onto that field earlier instead of starting a new road. Well, anyway, she's going to be the starting player now, which is nice for her. She's going to have the better endgame chances. Tehran, of course, is the first player to have scored in this game. And the American already has her road restricted, but it shouldn't be such a big deal. We can go here now, try and poke at this city, maybe invade here. Really isn't all that much to do. No, she starts a new city on the right, which is understandable, but it is not aggressive enough. Because let me tell you what's going to happen. Yeah, of course, the most efficient move for blue. Here is how this is supposed to unfold. If you go here with the city cap, the fact that you're creating your opponent, you're pressuring on this square. First of all, that would have totally worked because she would have, well, she would have like gone over here. Anyway, so you create pressure on this square. And then if your opponent gets a Dorito, it sort of forces them to go here first, to not allow you to invade, but that exposes another platform for you to invade. So interestingly, in many situations, when you place a meeple like this, it's not this meeple that ends up making it to the city, it is another meeple. Yeah, now a very unfortunate sequence of tiles for Mingo. Did you see this here tile? The reason why she placed it over here, which is because she was forced to, there were no places on the board where she could start a new city without helping out her opponent. Like, for example, she could have gone over here, but that would really not be wise to finish your opponent's road. And she was forced to kind of go here and add 2 points to herself whilst also exposing a connection platform. So rather unpleasant. She still can get one of the 2 splitters. In the meantime, another city gets scored at the bottom, and this road here is being severely threatened. Black chooses not to protect this road, which I can understand, but maybe it was worth it. Tehran connects. And Mingo does get herself the straight line tile. The only question is, does it go here or does it go here? She chooses the more direct approach. There's some scenarios how this road could get broken on both sides. But then, let's say if blue goes here and breaks this road, then we still have a splitter and we can do something like this. All right, so blue finishes the road. Black is still pointless. And some banter is going on in the chat. Deja Vu says, Mingo, yeah, because she has herself the same situation. Like, she has this sausage city coming up. And the question is, do you add Dorito to the sausage? But if you do, you expose yourself an attacking platform. So I think you don't do this, especially when you're 16 points behind. You just go here. Yeah, you start a new city. You also force your opponent to maybe spend a city tile onto a shared feature just to not allow this here invasion, but she just uses the city on a shared feature nonetheless. So we can see these opening moves where black could have been a bit more aggressive in a couple of spots, but that didn't quite working out. Even this regrettable position with Dorito could have been avoided had this city been started like this, because she would have done this, and then with the Dorito tile she would have genuinely threatened the invasion of this here city, and this also would have meant that this here blue guy would not have been able to invade the city. Yeah, okay, so now blue goes for this here move, trying to limit the road from both sides, and there are now some scenarios how we get the split, how we get the splitter tile and so on, but instead of this, I think black should have considered going over here and trying to take over big city and trying to get the starting tile. Like, these 6 points are not going to cut it, because now blue can just go here, connect the cities, or even better, just ignore it and go here, continue his city, and blue just has the advantage. But blue instead drops the first farmer of the game. That is pretty interesting. I really did not expect that to happen. I think it's not worth it necessarily. Blue immediately invades. Black gets to defend her city now, her road slash city, and then there's still a 50-50 chance that she's going to get both of these starting tiles. She has the meeple majority for the moment. I think the road is worth protecting. All back-to-back splitters for the play with the blue meeples. Also, they're mildly surprising to me. Mingo now tries to block this here square, which makes some sense. Tehran with a scoring tile, presumably gonna just take 2 points somewhere. Yeah, a lot of city plus field caps have already been drawn. All 5 splitters in this area. This field is actually turning into something quite formidable. So I wonder if... well, that's as interesting. I was going to say, I wonder if blue is considering invading this road, but blue just wants to cover up this here square. Mingo's road, in the meantime, is increasing in health. Also, wanted to point out that had she tried to invade this city, she would have already been able to successfully pre-complete it on one side, but this also works just fine. Oh, I see the point of blue's move. Yeah, of course, he cannot afford to spend a meeple. That was the idea. But the point of blue's move is, of course, to try and start blocking his field. Because let's say if this square gets blocked, which is actually in blue's interest, maybe even. If this square gets blocked, but then this guy stays here with just 12 points, and maybe even 15 points if these here cities are being completed, and until recently, it was not really possible to invade the field easily. We can also see that black drops her farmer here with the idea of getting a road monastery and connecting all the way, which is still possible with a curve and a road monastery like this, like boop. Now, this here blue meeple is also being controlled by this farmer. Some quick points for the American, taking care of one of the available road ends, and Tehran decides to go here and pressure this here city. Mingo, of course, not gonna let that happen. She tries to run away. Yeah, Tehran now with his last meeple being deployed on the board and restricted to the same type of city cap, is feeling a little bit apprehensive, but there is something that he can do about this situation. He could have gone over here. That would have been my choice. Trying to just prevent his opponent from invading. Mingo now with the road monastery can also do some interesting things. She can either take 2 points somewhere, but a move which I would prefer is just going... Ooh. Is that a farmer then? I think she wants to farm like this, but why not get the road monastery there? That is something that I don't get. And then she could have completed her invasion like this. Maybe she felt that her road was too blockable. But even if she gets a crossroads, like there's a chance to invade through back-to-back road monasteries. Well, anyway, Tehran is now trying to block this here square. Well, actually, I don't think he's trying to do anything. He's more like discarding the tile. Yeah, Mingo. Ooh, exposes this here vulnerability, which is getting taken care of by blue. But this is still an okay position. This is actually an excellent move here from black, because black is planning to now get back-to-back curves and invade with a farmer like this. And if blue wins this big ruin over here, this is not going to be a big deal, because the ruin is going to be worth like 12, 14 max, and the field is going to be 18. So 5 cities over here, assuming this one gets completed. 3 tiles still go there. Then the 6th is here, and maybe even the 7th over here. Although it is in Mingo's interest not to have that city completed. All right, now black here has a very strong move, but I doubt that this is the first thing that's going to come to her mind, because you're thinking about this here square, and you're thinking about your farmer invading like this. What you're probably not thinking is about your farmer invading like this. And she finds the move. This is brilliant, brilliant. This is not just a blocking attempt against this here square. This also is a way for this farmer to sneak all the way over here. Now, this here curve idea has been just prevented. But Mingo now successfully restricted this here city to the last remaining dagger, so that is nice for her. She's 2 points ahead of the scoreboard, has a meeple, and still there are ways to invade the field. Yeah, and look at this, he's trying to prevent exactly that. But now she can she renew the threat somehow? Well, I guess the way she can do this is by going here with a curve and then with the road monastery, but she would need the other road monastery. She's now trying to make a permanent block at the top, which makes a lot of sense. We're going to see a defense. And there we go. Well, Mingo gets the tile that she needs. She will finish the shared city. She will invade the field. She will take the 3-point road. It does give back a meeple to blue, which is a bit unfortunate. But it also gives a meeple back to black. 5 points extra on the scoreboard. And still all the chances in this game. Now, blue will probably invade here. This is the problem that we're having. And then black will have to re-invade. And then black will still be ahead as a result. Oh, this is so smart. Well, look at this. Look at this guy. Because now, a road monastery is pretty much futile, right? Because it would require multiple curves to create this here field connection. So I think from Mingo's perspective, we still rejoice at this tile because we can go take 2 points over here and block this meeple here permanently. And then we have a very, very clear plan for the win. Our opponents connect to the city. We reconnect. And then we have the lead on the scoreboard. We each share... It is such unnecessary greed. It is such unnecessary greed. Why can't we just take one extra point, one fewer point, to ensure that our opponent does not get a meeple back? Because if Tehran gets this meeple back, it changes everything. That is the problem that I'm having. So Mingo now can invade this city, if she so chooses. I'm not even sure if this is the best move even at this point. She goes for this city invasion. I can understand this totally. Now there are 2 tiles that fit here. Tehran now catches up on the scoreboard. Not by much. Mingo still ahead by 1. She also has a 3-point meeple here comparison to this 1-point meeple over here. So she's technically ahead by 3 if she successfully completes this connection. She now chooses to block the farming entries. However, it wasn't crazy to actually try and enter the field herself. And Tehran now has a winning chance. I think he goes here for a 7-point monastery. And he tries to get one of his meeples back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's still 3 curves. And it's a wonderful chance to get a couple of curves and a meeple back like this. Yeah, I think this is the move. This is where we spend our last meeple. He does this idea. He does not go for the meeple, which is a bit surprises me because I still don't see how he's planning to overcome his deficit. Now that Kerry gets herself the last dagger tile, she does not get punished for being a bit greedy with the extra point over here. This guy is never making his way back. Kerry's still ahead +3. Well, technically +2 because she has a 2-point meeple here versus a 3-point meeple over here. But we're assuming that all the meeples are getting connected. There's still 2 Wait! There's only 1 Dorito tile. So this move was completely pointless. Because if this here guy connects to the city, then black is not going to have a tile to reconnect. Yeah, so this is actually very unfortunate. What Mingo should have done with this tile is maybe just gone here and tried to start a blocking attack against this here square and still preserved herself a meeple for... Oh, no, 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 no. Hallucination on the part of Kerry. This is what we're seeing here. So she's dropping a farmer, thinking that if she gets a straight line, she invades, but she doesn't. Well, but what she is going to get, I was going to say she's going to get a curve, and then she's going to try and get a crossroads. I think it's a hallucination. I think she just simply doesn't see that this straight line does not connect to the farm. But there is a pattern still, and this is... Why are you saying view? View where? I think she still does not see it. She still does not see that this farmer is worth 3 points. And Tehran is now ahead. By 1 point or something. So yeah, very unfortunate blunder here. I can see how this looks like it's the same field, but they need still this square to make it over here. Let's see how long it takes Mingo to realize. Yeah, and Tehran can just gets himself this here tile. Hey, Mingo gets something. She wins the coin flip for this here tile. Not that it's a super necessary. Tehran's gonna get himself an extra point. And Mingo gonna get herself some field points. Wait. Does she win anyway as a result of this? I think she does. Because this here farmer is worth 6 points. Or like, wait, or it's something like it's a 1 point game, or it's a tie. We're gonna see in a second. 580. I think she wins by 1 point. This is incredible. Yep, she wins by 1. So this is so funny. Like she oh boy. Did you see exactly what happened, right? Because she started this farm, which was going nowhere. But even on its own, even with the fields not connected, the farms are still worth 6 points. And the board is so closed that there are no features nowhere near as valuable as these 6 points. Then winning this was important. Winning this coin flip, not only allowing her opponent to connect, but also making sure that she gets the extra point from completing this here city, well, from completing this here connection, and then getting this tile was the only way to win this game. Because even if she doesn't get, even without this extra point, the game is tied and the Polish player wins. All right, well, this is interesting. Now we're headed to a decider. And by the way, also, we can obviously see Mingo making this blunder, but Tehran is also not playing this without mistakes. He, I think, could have meepled that 7-point monastery, which would have netted him, I think, better winning chances, if I'm not mistaken. He still made reasonable moves, but ended up losing. Alrighty, so now Tehran's the starting player. He takes the 4 points, one of the best possible starts. Mingo with the first shielded tile. Balanced position to begin. 2-point road for Tehran. Mingo immediately going to invade. And actually, you know what? I'm going to say it's a bit of an imprecision from Tehran's part. I don't see why you don't want to take this road instead. Because then you would be prolonging the road and creating a chance to potentially block the square. This also gives back 2 monastery spots and Mingo with the first mistake of the game. The correct move here is, of course, to invade Black's road. Like, why do we make a 0-point move when we can make a 2-point move? And also, we could have made it so that it is more difficult for our opponent to invade this here city. Both players are having their constructions in this here area. Black can now get restricted, chooses this here restriction, which is quite interesting. Maybe I like it, but I mean, but this definitely had to be a meeple, right? Why are we so conservative, both sides? Tehran is now protecting this here square successfully and gets himself 10 points on the scoreboard, drops the first farmer of the game, leaving an empty city cap, but I can understand why he would do so. Mingo now needs to take that city cap, but he chooses to block this here road, which also makes a lot of sense. But as a result, this here city gets taken, and the road then gets taken. So both players quite conservative. Tehran starts a new road himself, and Mingo is going to get herself 12 points on the scoreboard. Maybe even dropping a farmer, I wouldn't. And overall, now it's a pretty good position for blue. Black, of course, has the nice farmer here and the soon-to-be completed city, but the vulnerability of this road makes me slightly prefer blue. It's like very close to 50-50 chances at this moment. Maciej's thinking about this here versatile. Makes a move which makes 0 sense to me. Like, can you please explain that? Can you please explain what was wrong with finishing his road? Can you please explain what was wrong with finishing his city? Like, I guess the idea is to pre-build the city over here, right? If he gets the starting tile. I get that, but like it cannot possibly be worth it. So Mingo's road gets obstructed. I guess this is like something that Black wanted to do. But you know, it was possible for Mingo to do it the other way. Like she could have gone over here and then obstructed this guy instead. Yeah, this is some endless creativity. Okay, well, no. Why? Okay, what about us starting waste city caps when we have 5 meeples? Like, what was wrong with going over here and starting a new city? And then also trying to obstruct our opponent's road. I don't know. Why so shy? Tehran continues his road, aiming for the 6-point loop in the long term. Something that he did in the first game as well. Kerry is probably going to start a new city somewhere. Which, by the way, like, I mean, here... Yeah, this is a good move. Away from the action and, most importantly... if our opponent gets one of the 2 remaining starting tiles, it will be harder for them to claim this here new city because this new city is pre-obstructed. And Tehran takes the 3 points and takes the gigantic risk of getting blocked immediately. But Mingo, of course, gets the blocking tile. Please go here. Oh, but she might not do that. She might not do that. She might want to go here instead. But she finds the discipline to... not take the 6 points here, not take the 6 point here, but to properly block this here meeple. This was still a good move from Tehran. It was still a very neat idea. Because if Mingo were to not get a blocking tile, she would do what? She would suffer quite some losses if Tehran would complete his setup successfully. But there's more to this as well. Even with her blocking this here square, she had to sacrifice a lot of points to do that. And in the meantime, she's getting blocked herself. Black successfully invaded the field, already has the majority there. And blue still has a playable position, right? But she does need now to find one of the 2 remaining starting tiles. Otherwise, she's going to be with a meeple disadvantage. But now there are other threats. She needs to invade this here. No. We need to invade that city real bad. Whilst our opponent is scoring points. This is a neat idea, actually. Because it makes it much harder for her opponent to put something here and make a permanent block, but it's quite risky to leave the city unobstructed for too long. Fantastic tile for black, going for a 6-point monastery, pretty much unblockable. Mingo is probably going to go for 4 points over here. She could invade right now, but then I'm kind of a bit surprised about the priorities here. So why do we want to spend the city cap on invading, but then not spend this here bigger city? So black is ahead +5. Could just build up his monastery right now. I don't think he's particularly interested in anything else. Yeah, this is a decent move. Blocking this square, or at least restricting it, and leaving a bunch of city plus field caps lying around, and there's a greater chance of black taking advantage of those caps than blue, because blue needs a cap over here. In the meantime, black builds up his monastery, now very, very organic. Mingo gets herself a shielded tile to catch up on the scoreboard. Still needs to draw herself the last starting tile, but a splitter will do. And she uses it to try and take over the city on the right with 5 Doritos still in the deck at the time of the move. Now 4 Doritos still remaining and a bunch of triple cities. This could be a game changer. Tehran tries to attack this here city instead, but Mingo's gonna munch on those quick points, coming closer on the scoreboard. Curvy tile for Tehran, probably looking to try and complete his monastery and his road, but I think this is one of those rare cases, exactly, that's excellent recognition, where we are supposed to break our own road. This is such excellent tile counting and board vision from the Polish world champion. Normally you want to go here, but in this particular instance, there's only one straight line remaining, and so black realized that he's going to get a meeple back faster with a curve plus curve combo, even if it means breaking his road a little bit. But black completes her setup on the right. She's 13 points ahead on the scoreboard, and this is huge because she now has ways to win this game without the field. The Polish player is still ahead because this field is worth 18 points. But if only Mingo now goes here and claims this this secondary 9-point field, she's going to be doing just fine. But the only problem for her is this is the only winning move in this position. The only move which gives you the advantage, and she does not find it. No, 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 no. Oh, no, oh, no. This is so tragic. This is precisely why. This was the moment where she had to find that move. Because not only is she not taking this 9-point field, she's allowing her opponent to take the 9-point field instead. And this is tragic. Even though she wins the coin flip for this here tile, she's now going to get blocked over here. And it's super instructive. With semi-closed fields, timing is everything. You have to anticipate. Like you have to look at the position and think what the threats are. And if only she had stopped for a second, okay, we're in the middle of the game. Like, what is the worst thing that my opponent can do? It's very easily finishing this monastery, dropping a farmer. Second step, how we could have thought. What's the way how we can prevent this? Well, how about we drop a farmer ourselves? This is super, super easy. But one tricky thing in competitive Carcassonne play is time management. And this does not just mean playing slower. It does not just mean playing faster. This is picking good moments where it is worth to think. And a moment where you have to spend like at least 30 seconds or even a full moment is after a big swing. And this finished city was a big swing. And what you have to do after this, you have to do a position assessment. Okay, so who is even ahead? Who is behind? Like, what are the points even? And I think if she were to realize that she had all these ways how she can win without the field, then she would have definitely found this move. Well, in the meantime, she gets herself more meeples back. She is 18 points ahead. Tehran is now trying to make something interesting. He's now trying to get himself a super majority on the field, and I'm not sure I exactly agree with that. The idea here is to get a curve and bring one more meeple into the field, but is that even enough? Because think about this. This field is now 18. If the farms are connected, this here guy is going to not score 9 points because these here cities will not be scored for twice. It will be eaten up by these here guys. The field will be worth 24. So Mingo will be down 6 points. Okay, 10 points because there's this road, right? And but she has 3 meeples extra. Like, all she needs to do is just ignore the field. Yeah, so Tehran is dropping farmers, and look at this. Mingo doesn't even want to take the city cap, although I think it is a bit too risky. She instead wants to go for a Dorito city. Tehran tries to block it, but this allows Mingo to score 4 points and unify the field. And she's clearly going for a field this win condition here. Yeah, this here is, of course, a very nice road setup, but there's only one tile that fits the air. So if I were Mingo, I wouldn't bother defending. Like, think about this. You're up 22 points. You still have these here extra cities that you can take care of. Okay, this is also fine. Just trying to finish a city like this. But I think it's more important to not allow our opponent to score 7 points over here. Ay, 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 ay. These 7 points are huge. Mingo with a Dorito. She could easily claim these 5 points here. And she still has some key tiles. She can get one tile not to finish, but to prolong her city, the triple city here. She can still get this tile. But yeah, 18 points is only now her lead on the scoreboard. Okay, let me see. So these guys are 9. And these here guys are 8. So she's minus 5 points. Actually, no, she's minus... she's ahead 2 points for a meeple. Now I was going to say she's ahead pure 6 points. Now 5 points. Okay, she's now ahead 5 points for a meeple. This is quite interesting. It's going to come down to the wire here. The game could be decided by monasteries. There's still 2 of those remaining. Now, blue still has to go for the field this win, but I think Tehran's position is now better. I think blue's mistake here was just not cleaning off this city cap. Because these city caps are just too dangerous. Like, it's a 7-point setup. Oh, actually, Mingo could just go here. And then I think she quite easily wins with the rose tile. That's also very nice for her. But she doesn't have to go here because there's nothing... I don't think there's anything that fits into the square anyway. Yeah, what do we even do? Maybe we go here, try to block our opponent a little bit. Just not let him have cheap points. Actually, it's kind of futile because there isn't any tile that goes over here that wouldn't go over here as well. And if black gets such a tile, black, of course, will go over here for a net 2 points gain. Oh, wait, did I miscount the cities? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ah, wait. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's only 24 points on the farm, which changes everything because now Mingo's the favorite. Yeah, she finds this move, which is okay. Quick points for Tehran. Huge tile. Okay, Mingo with another good tile for her. She can go here and kind of threaten the completion of the city. I don't know if it quite works. I doubt if there are even tiles that fit into that square. And she gets herself the setup. She gets herself the setup that she was saving for. And I think she's just calculating whether it's better to take 6 points over here or to take a couple more points over here. And of course, she's going to go here. She's going to take her road. And there are 2 monasteries remaining in the deck. 1 regular monastery, 1 road monastery. So there's going to be 6 points for Tehran. Wait, was a monastery discarded? Oh, yes. No. The last 2 remaining tiles are monasteries. Tehran now is going to score 2. Mingo is going to score 6. And Tehran is going to score 5, also 6 in a different area. Yeah, you take your pick. And here is the monastery, and here's the upset. Here's the win. Oh. Defeating a world champion, which is 300 rating points above her. What a game. In this one, indeed, I felt like the Polish player maybe was a bit overly fancy. With this here move, trying to make these setups, whereas there was just more simple alternatives, such as finishing this here city, which resulted, actually, you know, not placing this tile over here, as has been pointed by Craftraf in the chat, not placing this tile over here resulted into an 18-point city for his opponent. Wait, what? How did I get this wrong? What did I... Okay, so I double miscounted the cities. Because at first I thought that the field was 27. But then I doubted myself and thought that the field was 24. Which would have given Mingo the win. But the field was 27 after all, so the Polish player is the win. Ah. Interesting. But I thought that even, like, this move was so big. Why did this not result into a win then? Well. Yeah. So the Polish world champion does manage to squeak one past his American opponent. I guess this 6-point move was quite a lot, yeah. And in order to win, Mingo needed to get her tile a little bit earlier because she ended up with a meeple surplus. Yeah, she ended up with a meeple surplus, right? Because she got a meeple back right before the end. But there were still, so let me think, what could be then the game decisive mistake for Mingo? And probably it's something very simple. Instead of going over here, she should have just cleaned off the city cap way earlier. Not allowing his opponent this here 7-point move. I guess that was simply it. Then this 1-point meeple became here stranded for a little bit too long. So a combination of things. Still, out of all the 3 games, this was the most fun one. Lots of back and forth, blocking here, redemption here, farmer control here, big city over here. Then blue, of course, not taking this 9-point field was a little bit unfortunate. Then ended up being just fine as the field got unified, and there was a fieldless win up in the cards. And if only this city cap were to have been cleaned up, then we might have been looking at an upset here. Alrighty. We move on to our next game. It was, this match was definitely way more interesting than many of you might have anticipated based on the player's rating. A 1-point win for Mingo and a 3-point win for Tehran. Our next match has already started a couple of minutes ago. This is between Germany's Leuschi, who came second, I think, in the National Online Championships of Germany. 600 rating, 1,000 games of experience. Then Squallus, the French captain, or the former French captain rather, with a peak rating of nearly 800, should be a slight favorite here, but Leuschi seems to be in rather good shape. So again, don't know what to expect from this one, just probably some high-level play. And the Frenchmen has themselves the red meeples to match the color of the flag. Same for Leuschi. I like when players do that. Also, living in Germany is fortunate because all the 3 colors that you have on your flag are available as meeples. Whereas for France, white is not available, so you have just a little bit less choice than normally you would. So what are we having here? 8 points advantage for Squallus. An overall good position. This here city is almost blocked because there is only one tile that fits into this square. But if Leuschi cashes up on this setup, actually it's going to work quite well for them. Then there are lots of meeples which are traded. These here guys share this vulnerable square. These here guys share this road. These here guys are both blocked, but this is good for yellow because yellow gets to expand his blocked side of the city. He just needs to get something like a cow tile soon enough, and he needs to draw it before the quadruple city tile. This is also quite important, so that he can add the quadruple city tile later and bring this city to 8 points or more. Squallus decides to go to a farm to equalize the farm of yellow over here, and yellow has the chance to shoot right back at him over here and dropping a farmer. And this is definitely the move that he's gonna play. He's just deciding whether it is worth to drop a farmer yet or not, and he decided not. And I do like that idea because he still needs meeples in for a couple of places to build points, but to build features. Unfortunately for Leuschi, he gets the quadruple tile a little bit too early. He is not able to place it into his city. In fact, he has only one legal move, and this is exactly what happens here. Yeah, Squallus now at some point can drop a farmer over here, and this is the whole shtick with the temporary meeple advantage, because this here guy is stuck here for a long time. Even if yellow manages to get this dagger, which would put yellow ahead on the scoreboard, yellow is more likely to lose this game because Squallus can use his temporary meeple majority to place farmers strategically. So not right now, but ideally we'll wait for something as simple as a straight line. We go over here, we connect to the farm, and we happily invade the field. Instead, Squallus does something which I don't really like. He meeples a 6-point ruin, which honestly does not look that bad. But then it's basically relinquishing the main asset in this position. His main asset is the meeple advantage, and now he does not have the meeple advantage anymore. And Leuschi decides, you know what? If you don't want meeples, I am just going to fight you on the field. Drops a farmer here. Now going to connect, develop the field. Squallus takes some quick points, but the idea of Leuschi, of course, is just to try and maintain that field control. But this is the price that you pay, because now you ideally want to start a new city over here, but you can't. So instead, he just goes here, finishes the shared road, or rather pre-finishes the shared road, just to share these points, and also indirectly continues his city on the right with a couple of Doritos it could grow. Squallus now really is not interested in going over here anymore. But instead he's going to go for these here sort of points. This is actually quite interesting, and he's saying, so if you want to bully me with your majority of meeples on the farm, then you're going to have to finish my road. So this could turn into a game of chicken and all... So, because you see, like, on one hand, red wants to finish this road to get his meeple back. On the other hand, yellow wants to go here to eat up this farmer. On one hand, this farmer doesn't want to get eaten up. On the other hand, these farmers do not want to help red recover meeples. So you see where I'm going with this. And in situations like this, very often, like, multiple curves are drawn, and neither side places the curves over here. And because Squallus is the starting player, he's actually going to have an advantage in these here chicken situations. It's always the case for the starting player because they are the player who's going to place the last tile in the game. And so they will get to decide whether it is beneficial for them or not. Because there could be some other scenarios how maybe red gets a meeple from a different side into the field. And then red actually would want to go over here to get one more farmer and equalize the main field. So this is quite interesting. In the meantime, both players exchange quick points. Some of them in an indirect way. Look at this move. That was very nice of the German to be able to continue his ruin indirectly. Still plenty of tiles that go here. 5 to be precise. 3 triangles and 2 triple cities. Squallus now just keeps munching on them quick points and is also trying to pre-build a long road which goes through his city. There's still one more tile that's left into that square, and Leuschi, of course, can now just go over here, take the 4 points, block the square, and still feel good about his position. Yeah, believe it or not, even though Squallus is 12 points ahead on the scoreboard, I genuinely prefer yellow here. The players are equal on meeples, and the only player who can realistically get a meeple back is this one. It will come with a scoreboard lead instantly because this will be worth 12 points. Yeah, look at this. Squallus gets himself a farmer. And this is how desperate the Frenchman is at the moment. Actually, it's a good move. It's a really, really good move. The plan of Squallus is, of course, to get a curve and get a meeple back like this, or to do something like this, but then Leuschi also has a meeple. Let's see where this brings us. So some quick points for the German are going to follow. And this city cap is quite interesting because it provides a farming platform for either side. So will he go for the 4 points, or will he go here instead to try and block this farming platform? I don't think it is quite worth it. Because you see, now yellow has the meeple advantage. And yellow is a little bit more likely to use that platform. But you know what? From Squallus's perspective, I think it is not crazy to just go here, finish the city and score 0 points for it, and simply drop a farmer. Because the field is pretty closed. We're still going to be ahead on the scoreboard. We're still going to have 3 curves that fit into this square. Or even 4 curves that fit into this square to give ourselves a meeple back. And even if we don't get a meeple back, like, we sometimes win this game anyway. Well, I guess we don't because our farmer does not get into the field. But let's say if we get the meeple back on, like, on the very last tile and we can't use it anymore. If we get the majority on the field and we can fend off our opponent's attack on the field, then it doesn't matter that we don't get to score in this game anymore. And you know what? I think that Squallus is going to do it. He's really thinking about this. Like, whenever players spend a minute like this, it's not because they're thinking about quick points. And I feel that the French captain is going to talk himself into it. Six minutes on the Frenchman's clock. It is a little bit less than desirable with 20 tiles remaining, and he's doing it. Yeah, he's doing it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. Fantastic move here from the Frenchman. Again, don't try this at home. Like, generally, I don't condone spending your last meeple like this, but in this particular position, it just so happens to be excellent. Now, Leuschi is in a bind. He gets the dagger, not the kind of dagger that he wants, and he has an opportunity to counter this farmer. So he could get a yellow meeple over here and still have multiple curves in that fit here. 4 of those curves. There is a slight risk of our opponent going here and here and blocking the square and then invading through the other side. But if our opponent invades through the other side, it suddenly obstructs this here square. He chooses not to do it. He chooses not to do it. And I think at his peril, because then, like, how else do we invade? That's the problem. Yeah, well, now we get to complete the city, of course, right? Yeah, I don't like a move like this. It just doesn't do much. It just doesn't do much. And even if you're not going to invade, you're probably better off starting the farmer, starting the city in a different place. Like, you just have to think about the geometry of this field, because now Squallus is going to go here and get himself the equality on the field. He's going to have the 9-point field here, which puts him ahead by a lot. And still plenty of opportunities for that 9-point farmer to make it into the main field. The position of the German is suddenly miserable. Yeah, so you really gotta question this idea from yellow. I guess I see what yellow is. Oh no! Come on! Well, not like that! Of course you connect to the farm, but you turn this. Like, why do we give? I can't. Do you see what I'm seeing? I mean, the Frenchman was doing so well with these here farmers, like realizing the geometry of the field, realizing the closed nature of the field, only to just blow it all out of. Just blow it all up. Because, like, the city cap is going to be finished, and then, okay, yellow just going to drop a farmer over here. Whereas if you turn it the other way, well, then yellow has to really, really work for that farming invasion with 0 places where he could do that. Yeah, well, Squallus now gets the dagger, so this here meeple is blocked. We're probably going to see some quick points over here. And now yellow's gonna go here and invade. Ah, but he can't. So it was all planned. So then the Frenchman is gonna have his cake and eat it too. Yellow's gonna do, I don't know what. I guess yellow needs to go here to set up some sort of invasion platform like this through a straight line, right? There's still 3 straight lines remaining. Yeah, so we go here. If our opponent goes here with a curve, which would eliminate this here field connection platform, we can get something like the last starting tile, drop a farmer, invade like this. We will have to invade at some point. Yeah, very nice find here from the German. Quick point from Squallus. Over here, trying to invade. Very natural move, already ahead quite a lot on the scoreboard. Leuschi really needs to get into this farm soon enough, but I don't think he can. He really needs to get the meeple back first. Or maybe if he sees that the window of opportunity is closing, he might drop a farmer here, but I think the meeples are more important. It's also not crazy to go here, because then you might want to get a meeple back and invade another time. Yeah. Well, let's see what happens in a second. It's also not crazy to try and take 3 points over here and try to block the invasion of red at the bottom. All right, so minus 16. Red has a bad tile for them because they cannot do anything about the field geometry. But one thing that they can do is maybe go here and limit this here field's connection. They could also go here and just drop a city cap onto the field, but it opens another field's connection platform, which I don't like. They could also go at the bottom and try to develop their little 6-point field, and it creates some certain situations where maybe yellow goes here, takes over the main field, but we have ourselves a secondary field and we win anyway. Yeah, this gets quite interesting. But I want to illustrate the point. Like, imagine if the city cap were faced the other way. Okay, we would have had fewer points in the city, but now this move would have been super easy, and then there's just no invasions for our opponent at all. Now that there are multiple invasion platforms, like, and our opponent has the meeple majority, now we need to get worried again. Because you know what could happen? So let's say we go here, or here, and we make one of these two moves. Then our opponent gets a straight line. They go here first. Then they get another straight line, and then they go here, and then they invade like this through a city cap with two meeples. And this is why red chose to go on this side to prevent exactly that. How interesting. So yellow instead drops like a normal farmer, but suddenly this becomes a little bit more blockable. This, I believe, is the penultimate curve. So Squallus could go here and try to limit this square to just one curve. It's also possible to just allow our opponent into the field to just go here, and then also creating this 4-point road, which only we can claim, because obviously yellow is not going to claim such a road, since this would obstruct his own field entrance. Yeah, this here move, very, very savvy. Okay, now the blocking move is being played. Red is one tile away from a permanent block because both road monasteries have gone out. And Leuschi cannot defend, but he can go here at the very least. And then this will create some other interesting opportunities for himself. Instead, he's going to drop another farmer, which makes some sense. Yeah, he's going to try to invade over here like this. I think I would have preferred a move like this to block this here guy first. Because let's say from yellow, we assume that we're going to get blocked here, which we are. Then we could have blocked here, if you feel me. Yeah. Scoring move from Leuschi, and now the game-winning tile from Squallus. Will he find a move? Of course he will. 2-point sacrifice to limit this here yellow farmer from the entry into the main field. Lovely stuff. And Squallus wins the farm anyway. And there is nothing that the German can do about this. So the red with 3 brilliant farmers, well, with 1 normal farmer and 2 brilliant farmers, is going to take this down. But one particular move that I wanted to point out was this one. Making this field platform slightly worse, forcing Leuschi 1 square down, which resulted in Leuschi getting blocked on this square. It was only possible because this here find. So this was just amazing prioritization and board vision, especially when there were so many options what to do about field geometry. Squallus picked out the most impactful one. A monastery tile is going to score him a little bit towards the end. 6 points extra and a massive, massive win. Yeah, the one criticism, of course, that I have for Red's move is this. I think it was like a temporary hallucination. But other than that, just amazing, amazing field vision from the French player. Leuschi is sending a gratulation in the chat. And an even plus 30 win. Alrighty, let's see how the second game progresses. Squallus 1, Leuschi 0. I guess we're having ourselves a 1-minute break or something. Maybe just enough time to remind you all to meeple the like button. Alright, and the game 2 has started. Squallus is the starting player. Leuschi gets the first monastery. Squallus, however, with the first 4 points. And some nice symmetry over here. Both players drew the exact same tile, the shielded Dorito. You can calculate what the probability of that is. It's not a lot. Very nice move here from Squallus. Building a 4-point road and trying to obstruct this here square. And immediately, yellow gets to defend a little bit. But you know what? With 3 of those road Doritos having gone out, this square is a little bit more dangerous than it seems. Now, the Frenchman has 3 options, and this is one of them. I do like this idea, trying to control the square. It's actually very, very nice. But maybe something more standard, like going over here and finishing this, would have worked as well. Yellow can now do something like this, I guess, which would be quite interesting. Just get a point and then try to set up a Dorito. But no, yellow wants to go for this here road, and Squallus is going to be quite happy about this. He's going to go over here, he's going to limit this to 2 tiles, and he's going to force yellow to finish his city. This is going to be the plan. And the idea is yellow will of course go here at some point, but somewhere, red will wreak havoc with his meeple majority, albeit a temporary one. But it's still a playable position. I think the only thing that the German needs here is just to draw the rose tile, the critical tile, soon enough. That would fit right here. He starts a new city, but that unfortunately is a mistake. The way you're going to start a new city is at the bottom, not allowing like an easy restriction move. He's gonna do just fine, but you see, this is one of those moments where it looks like a normal structure, right? Of course he's gonna go here now after some deliberation, but this city is more dangerous than it might seem, and this again is because all 3, well not 3, but 3 out of the 5 Dorito tiles have gone out, the road Dorito tiles, and this city actually does not get completed very often because there are fewer tiles that fit into this square, and especially fewer ideal tiles that fit into this square. A red on average will have more time to do something like this and limit these squares to starting tiles than normal. But red probably is now going to go over here. Since he has now this monastery, he can get himself a point and also start obstructing this here square. A dagger here for the German, not the right kind. He would have loved the other dagger to go over here and cover himself up a little bit. Otherwise, this city is almost indecently exposed. What does yellow do here? Probably wants to maybe go here. Yeah, this is also an okay move normally. Yeah, it's an okay move. It makes it a bit harder for Squallus to block this city, although a bit of an unusual blocking decision here from the Frenchman. Ah, but that's why. Oh, this is brilliant. Again. So normally, of course, you want to point the city down, although it actually does kind of backfire for Squallus. Normally, you want to point the city down, but his idea is because there are fewer of these here tiles remaining, then the standard save with a straight line or a curve like this, it actually doesn't work very well because there are some situations where this here guy gets restricted to the same rose tile as this here guy. Oh, this is so interesting. On the other hand, this here also kind of backfires as Leuschi gets to block it a little bit and also to set up a splitter tile to separate himself, but it is not yellow, it is red who has the triple city, sorry, the splitter tile in his hand. Plenty of options here. Some of them are quite interesting. He could go here and attack the city directly. I think this will be a little bit crazy. He could go here and just start a new city like this and try to get one of the three remaining right-handed daggers to finish this here city. Yeah, because think about this. These three daggers are all the same, so they're all three daggers of the other kind remaining. He could go here and score 4 points and almost block the square, but I think it's a rather easy defense for Leuschi, who just happens not to draw the right tile. But I think there was a better move available. I think what we could have done is we could have just gone over here and tried to create this better blocking opportunity. Well, yeah, look at the German trying to defend at all costs over here. And in this particular instance, it's actually not such a bad defense. And it ends up working. Yeah, so that's why I didn't like this move, because there were still 3 daggers remaining. Squallus gets himself the 6 points, but Leuschi is going to finish his city for 10 points, gets on the scoreboard, and drop the first farmer of the game with only 2 completed cities, but quite a lot of green squares. Some very nice prospect for further development. Red starts a new road, interestingly. I think it's actually slightly better than 2 points. It also puts a little bit pressure on this square. Now a good tile for the German. A couple of options here. Option 1 is we do something like this, except that this here orientation with the road pointing up would be a little bit better. The idea here, of course, is to draw the splitter tile at some point and try to block the square and then free up our own meeple. But the reason why the other orientation was better was twofold. Well, first of all, it would have left a road end so that we could score 2 points at the top and create another blocking platform. And second, actually, if we were to have gone over here like that, that would have been even better, because then if we get to finish that city and we go here with a road, then this would be a permanent block, because look at these daggers, right? So there are no daggers remaining. So a subtle detail. Red continues his city on the right. Yellow has to restrict it further. Going over here, restricting to two daggers, setting up another platform to further attack it is easily a no-brainer. Squallus with a road monastery. Probably wants to fill the shared square. He could consider doing something like this for 2 points. He could consider doing something like this and setting up a monastery like this, but this is just the more natural move. He will get the curve. He will get a meeple back soon enough. Leuschi with a dagger tile, which fits over here. So now this city is more vulnerable from the Frenchman. Yeah, now one needs to decide whether we want to take these 3 points, and I think the answer is maybe. Instead, he wants to start a new city, which also makes a lot of sense. Yeah, he really does not want to give a meeple back to Red, and I can totally understand this. Red can now go here, maybe try to make some blocking, or maybe better here, just continue the road. Or, even better, we go here and continue the road indirectly. And it's maybe not great to be requiring a curve in so many places, but there's so many curves. There's an obscene number of curves in the game, as many as 7. And it's not unreasonable to try to draw all of them. And also, this was my idea, right? If you go over here, you don't allow moves like these, which create this here blocking platform potentially. Squallus with a city tile could go here, try to create an attacking platform against this here guy, or make this here connection, which also makes a lot of sense. Leuschi now with a curve again needs to decide whether it's worth going here and finishing this here monastery, or maybe there's a chance how we're going to get ourselves a city tile and obstruct our opponent further. Instead, he goes here, but I think it's a mistake. Well, I can understand this move, okay? It sort of connects this guy to the farm, but it also helps Red's monastery, and Red gets away from this here situation earlier. Whoa, 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 whoa. Squallus is being super aggressive here. And he's not necessarily wrong, but it is quite the way to spend your penultimate meeple there, and now he's going to have himself some problems because of that. He tries to block. He tries to make an indirect defense. And also, let's go back to this tile. I think this tile belonged over here, because then Leuschi could have already gone over here and created a blocking move against this here guy. In the meantime, Squallus now gets to defend his city. There are 2 tiles that left to fit into the square. Leuschi with a curve, well, I guess now has to go here and restrict this to a couple remaining crossroads. And Squallus wishes he had not gone here, because he would have finished the city already. But it isn't a mistake to do so. Now, he also has quite a big dilemma, because he needs to either go here and protect these guys indirectly, leaving all 4 remaining crossroads up for grabs, but he would still leave 2 horse tiles, which Leuschi could draw like this and make a permanent block, relying on the fact that this quadruple tile is no longer here. Another option is to go here and defend directly, but then we only have 2 tiles that fit into the square. And I think I would have preferred that other option for a couple of reasons, but this makes perfect sense. The reason why I don't like this option is because if Leuschi gets a horse tile, then Leuschi gets to triple benefit, because he gets to block our meeples and deny us the city connection. But Leuschi, in the meantime, just invades this here city, equalizes everything, and now is going to finish this here guy on his field and get himself a meeple back. Yeah, another reason why I would have preferred a direct defense is because we still have this here meeple, and we can use a normal crossroads to free it up. But anyway, what I would have preferred is this here straight line like this, and then this whole here situation would have been avoided. A very interesting decision here for Leuschi, who is 4 points ahead. And the standard move here is to just drop a city cap in his field, create an attacking platform against this here road, and I think it's perfectly fine, and it doesn't work out, sort of, kind of, it doesn't work out from the blocking perspective, it works perfectly from the scoring perspective, as he gets himself these 7 points for the city, 3 for the field. But there was this consent move available to try and go over here and take over this big city, and I'm not sure what... I was going to say that this here guy could have gone over here and prevented that opportunity, but that is not going to happen. Because he wants to go here and try to block this square, which is a good idea. Just so that he does not allow this permanent block. But I think with this tile, I would have preferred just going over here, setting up myself an 8-point city. There's still one... Ah, no, never mind! This was the dagger tile. This was the last dagger tile, so Leuschi drew all 3 of them. And this here guy is permanently blocked. Great move here from Squallus. Very nice sequence. Now this square is completely unblockable. But what does it matter if Leuschi simply is going to get himself all the crossroads? 3 points over here, quite an easy decision. Just keep scoring and scoring and scoring, and poor Red cannot draw crossroads for the life of him. Quadruple tile for Red, he can now develop his blocked city on the right. At least a way to get some value. Yellow could develop his field, except that it is not possible to do so directly. So several... Yeah! Oh, this is amazing. This is... Of course. So first of all, it is a permanent block of the square, as no crossroads are available, at least no crossroads of this kind. And Red is going to end up with all these blocked monasteries over here. And second, it leaves these cities which only Yellow can claim. This is just getting obscene. Squallus developing his ruin. Leuschi is figuring out whether it's worth meepling one of those cities, or at least just like going here and leaving it alone. And I think, yeah, we do this even though there are some negative scenarios of our opponents going over here, getting a meeple back, and then drawing city caps to take care of all of it. But I think we still do it. Squallus is prematurely writing in the chat, not a nightmare. What a nightmare. Not realizing, actually, that the game is still winnable for them. And this results into some tilt moves. For example, this move was not good. It was better for Squallus to go over here and try and just continue his road, because his road is slightly endangered. Whereas this here only adds 1 point, but does not do anything positionally. So this game is like still winnable for Red. That's the thing. It's more than winnable for Red. And look at Leuschi, like, I don't think he even wants to... I don't think he now even wants to get these meeples back. Oops, my road, he's saying. What does that mean? I think maybe he realizes that this tile could have gone over here. But yeah, I was saying there was actually still plenty of comeback routes for Red into the game. Like, even with just one road meeple, he can do quite a lot. Oh, I think he's saying that he could have, with this tile, recovered this road. And yes, of course. So yeah, I think the Frenchman is starting to tilt a little bit prematurely. Well, first of all, for newer players watching, like, typing stuff in the chat like this in a tournament game considered really bad etiquette. So don't do that. But even the validity of what's being typed is not actually entirely true. Like, this is totally winnable for the player with the red meeples. Well, maybe not anymore. Because now what Leuschi can do, I don't think it is in yellow's interest to go over here. Yes, this will free up 3 meeples for yellow, but why do that? Because you know what? If we go over here and take these points and whatever, then there would be a genuine way for red to come back into this game. Red just needs to draw one of the 2 vanilla tiles, go over here, and then draw one of the 2 triple city tiles, and then take over the city for 32 points or something. And he correctly decides that this is not the way to go about things. So this is also an instructive moment as to how you keep your lead. Even though the higher scoring move for Leuschi was to go here, which is like to score a long road and get himself back 3 meeples, he realized that he does not need 3 meeples in order to win the game. He only needs to avoid the disaster scenario being red taking over the city. So this is some very nice technique. Yeah, look, by the way, all of those tiles, this and this drawn. Leuschi now gets a second farmer for insurance. Squallus doesn't have anything. I was thinking of going over here and trying to get a Dorito tile to finish a city like this, but there are no Doritos anyway, so he just goes for the field attack. And yellow might as well go for a field attack of his own. Somewhere, not here, because there are no any more vanilla caps. Maybe here, through a curve. No, we just take 4 points and we allow our opponent to penetrate the field. Well, he goes for this. Just a tad unnecessary, but whatever. 3 points were a little bit better. Now, Squallus will probably invade and then try to invade with another farmer somehow. But he needs to calculate this endgame. I think in reality he loses even if he wins the big field. However, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 21 points on the field are quite appetizing nonetheless. But when you're losing by 26, I think if you can do basic math, you realize that a 21-point field won't cut it. Still wants to be precise here. Completes the connection. Leuschi can either score 4 points, which I don't think he should, or do something like this. Pre-builds the connection with the monastery. Squallus, of course, is not going to place the monastery there. The best move for the Frenchman is to go there for 7 points. And yellow is going to score 4 points for this here city. And a 1-pointer for Squallus is going to end it. Yeah, interesting game. Red had a very good position from the start by getting his long-term meeple advantage, but then something started going wrong. Maybe there were some ideas how he could have gotten this city blocked. Instead, he sort of ended up helping his opponent inadvertently. Then got himself blocked over here, which wasn't such a big deal. But the biggest deal was having those 2 wonderful monasteries blocked, and I really wonder how that was even possible. And then after that, this here idea of invading, which wasn't wrong necessarily, it wasn't wrong at all. just ended up adding a little bit more variance to the game. And this is all that the German player needed. -19, so not a catastrophic loss for Squallus. If only he were to have gotten his meeples back, he could have even gone for some farms and stuff. But yeah, the German's gonna take this down, and as usual, we're headed for the decider. France won, Germany won, and away we go. Leuschi is going to be the starting player. He's going to place a meeple on a sausage city real quick. Typing something in the chat, probably something like very not particularly informative. Yes, it is the last one. We all know it. Great tile here for Red as a response. 3-point monastery. Leuschi is going to finish a 6-point city. He will contemplate dropping a farmer here, but he shouldn't, and I don't think he will. He's not really the type. Germans are a little bit more reserved than Brazilians in that regard. This style is very good to consolidate the monastery, start a road. Leuschi now has only one move that starts a new city in a way which doesn't help his opponent, but actually it's still quite an annoying tile because he is helping his opponent indirectly. Unfortunately, he had no choice, as Squallus is going to snatch these points, and then also this road end and this road end. Like, we could end up having a big long road all around that area. This here is an extremely unambitious move from a player rated around 600. I will be very, very critical of that move, not abiding by the principle of two cities. Like, he could have gone over here, started a new city, obstructed this square. He could have even started to go over here and try to disconnect this road and not allow monastery stacking. Like, there was really a case to be made to make this 1-point sacrifice, but going for this when this city is not in danger at all, I'm really shocked by it, honestly. And yet, it is still yellow who's ahead on the scoreboard. Red, however, might have a minorly better position because he has more points on the board. So technically, red is now ahead +1. Oh, this is interesting. So he chooses not to make the big long loop road. He chooses to set himself another monastery spot, and I don't disagree. I think it's a completely viable option. Leuschi now with an opportunity to fix his issues. And again, goes for an unusual move here. What you normally do is you go for a lower variance move. You try and... you go for a high variance move. You do like this, you try to finish your city, obstruct this here square, but he goes for a lower variance move, simply equalizing here. Red is not afraid of getting blocked here, but maybe he should. A bit surprising. Leuschi, however, does not quite get anything to obstruct this. He was considering to place a city cap over here and to try and do something like this. But then he figures that a city cap is not worth it. But a cow, on the other hand, would do it. Yeah, another move. The German is now playing this game with a lot of mistakes. Instead of going over here, he could have gone over here, scored 2 points, threatened a complete block, disrupted the monastery, and now none of that is going to happen. Now, at the very least, he's going to equalize, so that's something. But Squallus is now going to consolidate his road. And then he's going to get another straight line, and he's going to build all the way around here, and that's it. Now, this move, it makes some sense, because it sort of prevents red from going over here and eating away at these square, but there's just not so many points there that it is worth to panic about. And if anything, if we have this here city, if we think that invasions like these are dangerous, then we should have done it ourselves last turn. which would have forced a move from Squallus to go over here. So we might have forced the sacrifice of a shielded tile had only we put this here pressure. An excellent position for red at this moment, but still completely playable for yellow, and the main asset for yellow in this position is just the starting player advantage, which he's going to have at the end and have himself all the better endgame probabilities. Well, a farmer here from Leuschi is quite interesting. Only for 3 points, but recognizing that there are quite a few green squares. I think this move was made simply for lack of a better one, but he had in fact a strong alternative. A move over here would have threatened to break a couple of features from his opponent, and made the decision with this tile here more difficult for Squallus. Now, many of you will be considering to go here, but don't. Because first of all, this square is mildly dangerous, and second, expanding this here farmer would be madness. The way we play against such a farmer is we go here, and we control monastery squares. This is the second best option, but I like it a little bit less, first of all, because it has fewer points, and second, because this monastery is mildly dangerous. Like, a cow could go here, a cow could go here, and then we could end up in an equal meeple situation where we could be winning this much, much more easily. Leuschi with a road tile, and an interesting decision again. So no good moves for roads. In fact, the best one I can see is here, because it just adds an extra meeple, an extra green square to our field. Here, I don't think it's worth it. Yeah, and I think a move like this makes a lot of sense. We help our opponent's features a little bit, but we try and just equalize this here long road of Squallus. And in the process, we would be also expanding our field. If the Frenchman gets themselves the crossroad tile, they, of course, they would be splitting ourselves, but then they would be giving back a meeple to us, and so this is tolerable. Nice decision here from the Frenchman, building up the city on the right and then trying to block square, forcing Leuschi, literally forcing them to spend a shielded tile for such a protection. And by forcing, I mean that this was indeed the correct move, but you don't want to be in a position where sacrificing a shielded tile is a correct move to begin with. So yeah, red is creating threats. Now another very interesting decision here. Do we go here and unify those cities? And the answer, I think, yes, and the Frenchman agrees. There are some ideas how we can create a big city over here with a supermajority. And unifying the city is actually not that bad, even if we're going for a normal type of, like a normal self-invasion. Then we're ending up with fewer cities in our opponent's field. Yeah, this tile is perfectly fine. Trying to get himself some good 14 points. And red does not have anything to do with that. He does get himself a meeple back, create some blocking chances against this here square. Squallus with a scoring tile. Also limits the field a little bit, and Leuschi now with a chance to cover up the road. Or rather this. Yeah, this is good. This is good. Because we're trying to break this square, trying to delay those meeples, and maybe if we're lucky, trying to block as well. Squallus with a rather easy response, I was going to say, going over here, trying to now put pressure on this square. But this is not so easy, because our opponent could go here in theory, which would create the threats against two cities, and this is unfortunate, but I would probably still do it. An alternative is to go here and try and build a city like this with regular Doritos, with field Doritos. And this would have the added benefit of restricting this here square a little bit. And, for example, now straight lines don't go here anymore for blocking. Okay, but whatevs. Like, both options have their merits. The Frenchman's choice was reasonable, and now he gets to have his cake and eat it too. He can go here now, and instead of Doritos, shift to normal city caps, and then obstruct this here square nonetheless. But now that I'm thinking about it, this of course is not ideal because we have so many Doritos in the deck and we don't really have many city caps available for us. But we have to put something in this square, otherwise I really don't like a straight line coming in here and harming both of our meeples. Now, if we do this, then the straight line still fits in that here area, but the straight line with this orientation is much weaker than the straight line with this orientation because the blocking probability with that is lower. So as unpleasant as it is, and I think we just do it. Yes, we spend our meeple on the city cap, and after some deliberation, which is appropriate to make that move after some deliberation, he ends up pulling the trigger on it. Interesting decision from Leuschi. We have several moves here. We could take 3 quick points, or we could do this. This I do like a lot. Covering up his road on one end, and it's also creating some more blocking opportunities against this here square, and it pays off just nicely. Squallus with a 14-point city nonetheless. Leuschi with a very long road. And a monastery back, and now it's a game. Mild advantage for red, but Leuschi has all his meeples intact, has the lead on the field. The field will probably go bigger unless the Frenchman finds an opportunity for a counter field. And everything is super, super playable. And in fact, yellow is even ahead on the scoreboard, but the Frenchman still has advantage because he has more stuff on the board. More threats, such as completing the monastery right now. We have to not get too tempted by these here 3 points, because 1 point and a meeple back is much stronger than 3 points or no meeple back. And hoping for the last monastery is, of course, a little bit too ambitious. He's contemplating a farmer there, thinks better of it. Either field will be a little bit too small at this stage of the game. And now we have a super, super open position. It is not often that you see 9 meeples still in opponent's hands. In both opponents' hands at this stage of the game. 3 quick points for the German. No meeples blocked, interestingly. Squallus now with an option to get his meeple back from one of the city caps, or to score 3 points for the road at the top. Let's see which one he chooses. Both have pros and cons. So we go over here. Pros 3 points, cons leaving back the city cap. But this still would be my choice for a variety of reasons. Yeah, unfortunately for red, yellow gets to pick up that city cap and try to threaten something. Another dagger tile from Squallus. Not many options here, really. I think we still leave that city open. I think ideally we don't want to finish this city until we finish that one, and that is also the idea. He starts a new city, but oh, he goes for the farm. But why? It's like it's too early. It's unnecessary, and also the field is not big. I think it was just better to be a bit more patient here. It will be probably just fine as he gets himself the second farmer, and I guess his plan is to get the curve and get 2 farmers into the field at once, gaining some efficiency here. But then yellow can still invade. Like, yellow can go here, drop a farmer like this, invade through a straight line. It's super efficient, still 3 straight lines remaining. Or yellow can start going here and try to dream of something like a cow tile, which would block both of these farmers and even block the city. And he goes for it. Cannot blame him for that. Well, Squallus needs very hard to defend that square, which he can easily do indirectly by continuing his city and limiting the number of tiles that fit into this here square. All right, scoring tile for Leuschi. 4 points are going to be seen somewhere. Decides to go for this. The orientation with the road pointing down was slightly better because it provided a little bit more marginal blocking opportunities against here city, but he's going to have his blocking opportunities nonetheless. The standard move now is to go over here as red successfully invades the field, and red now has the chance to gain a super majority on the field by going over here, dropping a farmer, setting up a straight line. But it is an important strategic decision. Like, if we go all in on the field, will this decide the game in favor of us or not? And the answer is maybe not right now. Maybe we want to take this 6 points monastery over here. We could get a curve here. We could get another monastery like this. We could score quite a lot. And then we could be the ones who gambled the field away. Because, of course, yellow is going to go here, but then yellow might need to find himself in a situation where he has to get another platform to get 2 extra meeples here. And if yellow spends a lot of time on doing this, we can just win with monasteries and city points. Isna is suggesting just to build a monastery in the chat. But Squallus goes for the monastery, but a different one. And you know what? This is quite interesting. This is actually quite interesting. A bit fewer points, but controlling this nice road, and also controlling this farming platform. Now, the only way from Leuschi to invade from here is to actually get himself an extra point. And Squallus wants to do both the monastery and the farm. Okay, that is interesting. Yeah, and maybe now the German wants to not go there. There are 2 straight lines. It's a 25% chance that our opponent doesn't get it. I think we might want to just leave it alone for a while. Maybe instead we go here and we pick up this small city, small field. And then, you know what, if we go here, we pick up this field, we can go here, 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 and we can create a field which includes this here castle, which would give us 9 points. Yeah, I quite like this idea of building a 6-point road in that area together with a 9-point farm. Because again, once red over farms, it is very difficult for us to do anything about this. On the other hand, I can also see how from Leuschi's perspective, you might think that going for the farm is not enough. Yeah, so he drops a farm indeed. I think he should have just done this like that. Squallus picks up the quick points. A block is going to follow. Oh, you know what? Maybe not a block. Maybe we just do the city invasion instead. Yeah, because if we block the city, it's big enough anyway that it's worth the meeple investment. So we might as well just not bother and go straight away for the invasion whilst also cleaning off a city cap. But he goes for a farmer. He can't help it. I think this is also the case for many players who learned Carcassonne like before 2010, which is the majority of German players in the scene at the moment. Because in the old rules of Carcassonne, small cities were scoring 2 points instead of 4 points. The whole idea of fieldless wins was not really viable with the old rules, and you had to fight for the field really hard. Now, let me tell you what that main difference is. So imagine if you're building a field, you have a city cap there. In the modern rules of Carcassonne, your opponents can very easily clean off that city cap by taking the 4-point city, because it's still a net +1 move for them. 4 points for the city, and -3 for continuing your field, so it's +1. But if a small city is worth only 2 points, then cleaning off a city cap in your opponent's field is negative points for you, because you get 2 points for the city, but you lose 3 points for continuing your opponent's field. And I think this is also why they changed the rules eventually, because the game was just so imbalanced. But a lot of players who learned their strategy like before 2010, they're still gotten used to the idea that fields are everything, which they were at some point. So yellow gets 1 farmer in, which is quite a lot of effort for a farm which is worth 12 points, actually. Okay, 12 points is something. Squallus picks off the empty city cap, so good for them. Yeah, this is the thing with those monasteries also as well. That players from kind of that era will be completely fine of dropping a meeple for 6 points, but they will be not fine of getting a monastery for 7 points and a chance of meeple retrieval. But I guess after you've committed to this farm, you can't really afford to do much. With the monasteries, because you're just out of meeples. Now Leuschi now invading with a second meeple, which it makes a lot of sense in his situation. Squallus is probably going to build up here. Maybe should save time and actually do that. However, no, it's a good thing to think about, because it could be possible that going here with either orientation is correct. Instead, he chooses to try and block the square, which is a waste of a tile if you ask me. This does not get blocked very often at all. And you see, now with these here 2 moves, he could have created a genuine threat of completing this here city, but now if he goes here, then the city can still be blocked towards this here square by yellow. Still great position for red. He's 9 points ahead. Has an extra monastery. Has a city which could turn into a threat, and it might draw away a meeple from Leuschi. And even if Leuschi gets himself a 4th farmer on the field is actually so small, it's only 12 points with 12 tiles remaining, like it's almost nothing, that Squallus can easily outrun the field by doing some other things. I think he's considering going here, just building up his monastery. Instead, he starts a new city in a shared field, which also means that he could actually quite easily lose this game now. I don't like this idea, because he's going to finish the city, but this will turn the field into a 15-point field and create a super easy platform for yellow to try and invade it. Yellow, in the meantime, is munching on quick points. Yellow gets himself a chance to meeple this here 6-point field, or even better, we get one of the curvy tiles, admittedly not many of those remaining, and go here, and then get a 6-point road and drop a farmer inside. It looks like yellow is turning this around, and yellow chooses to drop a farmer in that area, which also makes a lot of sense. Squallus finishes a city in a shared field. Leuschi is not going to invade just yet, but instead he's going to go here, drop some city cap into the field, and cover up one invasion platform on the top. I'm not sure if he sees that this would open another invasion platform for red. But actually, all these invasion platforms are not such a big deal, because now that red has expanded the field and committed to making the field a game decisive feature, if Leuschi gets over here and then Squallus equalizes, then Leuschi, still having one meeple in hand, has an opportunity to win this game without having to fight for the field. Squallus with a Dorito tile needs to make a decision. Do we go here and just build up our city? Or do we go here and try to block this square? Now this move would still, it would take away one tile, it would take away the regular monastery which is still in existence, but it would still allow one Dorito that fits into the square. Actually, it kind of doesn't matter, because it's 50-50 either way, isn't it? So either we hope that we draw a blocking tile before our opponent does, or we just hope that they don't draw a Dorito. And you know what? I think this is mildly better. Yeah, in terms of probabilities, leaving your opponent with an immediate 50-50 is better by somewhere between 5 and 10 percentage points in this situation. I didn't quite count it fully. Leuschi now has to draw a Dorito in order to win this. Now it's also an interesting question. Is it enough to just equalize the field even? Oh, so, I mean, the field is equal. How was I going to say? Is it enough to just win the field, or do we still have to score? Because then, if Leuschi does not draw the Dorito, he might consider dropping another farmer elsewhere. Doesn't quite work with this tile, but he could consider it with a different tile. Now the field is 15, which would put him at +8. He has a potentially 6-point farm on the left. At the bottom, +14. Yeah, I think Squallus still ekes it out. Squallus still ekes it out because he has the monasteries and the little ruin, and all of that adds to just more. Well, all of that adds to 11 points. Monastery 6, city is 5, right? So that's 11. Putting Squallus at -3 if Leuschi successfully invades, when he does. Yeah, and then if Squallus were to have the meeple advantage, he would be forced to do what? I think I lost my train of thought. Let's just switch to this endgame, because Leuschi invaded anyway. And now Squallus should be at -3, and he goes for this monastery, and I think it is the best that he can do. I think it is the truly best that he can do. Because he scores 6. He's now 3 points ahead. But Leuschi now is going to take a ruin and put himself 3 points ahead. Oh, right. Duh! Taking 7 points for the field. Yeah, it's GG. And also a straight line for Leuschi is going to allow him to get 6 points in a variety of ways. He could meeple any one of the 6-point field available to him, and he's going to take this down with an unrelenting field attack, for which, again, I initially was critical of. But then he did so with some help of Squallus, because Squallus was the one who developed the field for him, which we didn't have to do. I think the French player did not recognize the opportunity for that fieldless win. And just got dragged into a losing farm battle when he didn't have farmers to fight with. Yeah, a little bit sad, of course, for all of our French fans. And yeah, this is also the whole thing with this, like, over-farming strategy. Not over-farming, because it's not the correct technical term, but basically if you, like, over-prioritize the field, the thing with this strategy is, like, if your opponent doesn't know how to play against it, it works. It works so often, but the reason why it worked right now, it is only because the play with the red meeples inadvertently helped him out by building a city in his field. Which also, by the way, gave another green square to drop this here platform and resulted in more 7 points. So, you get it. Anyway, congratulations for Leuschi for reading his opponent, for recognizing that he could get away with such a field strategy, and coming from behind in this one. Oh, hi, Ralph. Interesting. So the reason for the farmer rule was to simply make the rules a little bit less complicated, I guess, so that you wouldn't have to remember a extra rule as a casual player, so that a 2-point city is a 2-point city. So I guess little did they knew how much consequences this would have for the competitive version of the game. Because again, this 2 points versus 4 points, it just kind of makes all the difference in the world. Not saying that one is better, although of course I'm super biased as I grew up with these existing rules, but it's a very, very different game. Anyway, congratulations for Leuschi on this comeback, and we still have one more duel to observe, which should be quite interesting. These guys are playing... Wait, I had them open anyway. Let's just close all these tabs. So our main game of the night. Our main match of the night, of course. Here, they're approaching the end of their second game, where LordTerrycloth is ahead on the scoreboard. Not sure about the overall situation. We're going to get into it real quick, although it does look really, really good for the British player with the green meeples. So what is so interesting about this match? And one is the symmetry. We have a duel between two national champions, and also we have a duel of two national champions of not their country. So Daniel Ayala, originally from Mexico, resides in the United States. He's the reigning United States national champion. So he moved to the United States to win Carcassonne there. LordTerrycloth, that is David Faraci, grew up in the United States and recently won the British National Championship, as he resides in the UK for a few years already. So David moved away from the United States also to win in Carcassonne. And of course, simply a battle between two national champions is always going to be interesting. Now, LordTerrycloth does have his scoreboard lead. He also has a ruin at the bottom. He has all kinds of things. Daniel has fields, which are very good for him, but like it just... never mind the fields, basically, because they're not going to connect. There is no tile that fits here, and that's why the players go through the moves very, very quickly. LordTerrycloth, aka David Faraci, is going to take this one down. Hi, Steven. Oh, right. Wait, is from... Yeah, because of course Stephen Chang is waiting already in round 2 for his opponents from the same bracket. Anyway, let's just have a look at how these farmers are scoring. 9 points for the green farmer on the right, 15 points for the main farm in the center, and 9 points for the green farm at the top. Yeah, look at this. So green even managed to get more field points. There appears to have been this here critical tile, which would have expanded this blue farm at the bottom to make it 18, killed off this 9-point farmer, so that was a 12-point move, and also allowed blue the unification of these here two cities, which would have netted him 5 extra, so that's 17. And then also this here road could have been claimed by blue for like 8 more points. So this was a 25-point tile, which apparently was not drawn by Daniel Ayala. So will LordTerrycloth be able to keep it short, who, by the way, just now crossed the threshold of 700 again. Of course, they were a master before that, but it's always nice to have that psychological advantage. Daniel Ayala, also a master, but currently below 600. Yeah, and this looks very good for David, as he's the starting player yet again. Starts the game with 8 points. Daniel trying to be aggressive with the principle of 2 cities, now building up a rhombus below. LordTerrycloth with another scoring move, gets himself a 4-point loop, now is considering whether it is worth to drop a farmer with it, and I think he's gonna do it. And I think either way is fine. A bit of a stylistical question. Until we have an engine, I'm not exactly sure which one would be better in a simulation. I think without a farmer is slightly better. He now creates an attacking platform against this here city. Daniel Ayala with a bit of an awkward tile, but he'll take it nonetheless, turning his city into a 7-pointer, making it a bit more of a mid/long-term project. Mr. Lord takes advantage of a 4-point road, and Daniel Ayala does not have any tile, any place where to put this tile, except for maybe here. I actually like the self-restriction here, because this city is worth enough that I'm not too concerned about it being blocked. I'm more concerned about it being invaded, and by placing this tile over here, we're still going to allow ourselves both city plus road and city plus field tiles, but instead Daniel goes for the road sharing move, and David immediately equalizes the city, giving him an easy advantage in this position. Yeah, so that's the issue here. Like, we're down 12 points on the scoreboard and we just have nothing. And the reason why I really liked this here move is because it would have allowed us to preserve some sort of asymmetry in this position. Also, the city is actually not that easy to be blocked with 2 road pieces pointing outwards. David would have needed to found... Wait. David would have needed to find... Yes, that is the proper way to say this. David would have needed to find specifically a road tile to go there. Yeah, now Daniel with a difficult tile to play. I guess he could cover up his end of his side of the road, but it is only marginal value that can be gained, and he finds a good move. He makes it harder for the green guy to separate his roads, and the green guy now starts a new city in the best space possible, looking all the way over here, trying to maybe even take over that city with 2 meeples, or at the very least create the threat thereof. It's always possible to bail out from here with a simple city cap. Lovely move here from the Brit/American. Well, actually, yeah, I'm just not going to call either of these players American, not the one who resides in the United States, nor the one who was born in the United States, because then they could be distinguished a little bit harder that way. So we're going to have ourselves David as the proper Brit and Daniel Ayala as Mexican for further commentating purposes. A beautiful tile for the United Kingdom, starting a new city on the right and also creating some sort of blocking opportunities. Now, making it a little bit difficult for Daniel to make a decision with this here tile, because I think normally you want to go over here and you want to try and create the threat of completing this here city. But then after this square has become vulnerable, I don't know. Actually, you know what? Maybe we do it. Maybe still do it. Do it. Okay, if we get blocked, we can defend instantly, and we're still going to have one more tile that's left to fit into the square. We're down, and he doesn't do it, and I understand why. I understand why he doesn't want to do it. I think it might even be the best move. He figures, you know what? I'm going to make a comeback differently. I don't want to just rely on a 50-50. There are also some nasty situations how our opponent gets an 8-point city for themselves, and nah, I don't want to do it. Mr. Lord drops the first farmer of the game, anticipating the completion of all these here cities. Now connects to the city at the bottom. Now very volatile situation. Green could invade over here, but blue could invade over here as well before green with a slightly lower probability. Daniel does not have many meeples. He has a bit too many roads in this here position. He's looking for crossroads, and he might just need to place another meeple on the road in order to equalize the points from David over here, and also limit the potential of his field a little bit. This is also an option, anticipating a Dorito tile from Mr. Lord, allowing him to take over the ruin, but at least making sure that the city never gets completed. Maybe this is a slightly more precise version of this, to try and play against this square and against this square at the same time. So really two reasonable candidate moves for Daniel. I think the scoring one makes a little bit more sense when we're behind on the board. However, a crossroads would be devastating if my opponent goes over here. Then I have 3 road meeples which I need to free up. It is very disharmonious development. But I would still probably do it. The third move that I see is maybe this, which is a little bit weaker, but it also has a good purpose. It indirectly continues our road, and it creates an attacking square against this here guy. And basically what this means that at the moment, if David gets this here Dorito tile, he gets to cover up, and we in advance can create a platform for further blocking or invasion. Actually, yeah. Very often the chess saying works. If you see a good move, go find a move better. I think this is now my favorite move, and instead he does this, which is just not good at all. It looks like it's kind of making this. Well, wait, whoa. Why do I just keep jumping to criticism so fast? It has its merits, you know. It has its merits. Now, the reason I didn't like it at first is precisely this. Yeah, because there's still 2 road monasteries, but it still was sort of kind of worth doing because the quality of this here monastery was reduced. Do you feel me about this? Yeah, precisely, because we can do this. Again, there's still, of course, a jackpot tile available for David, and now David just has a field, and this city, even if it does not get completed, David's just going to run away with this. Good move for Daniel, trying to start a new city in David's field, because his plan is to eventually take over that field. And it's a legit plan, because, you know, he does have a long-term meeple majority. Like, this guy's invested here for a long time, possibly forever. These guys are invested here, hopefully forever, because if they ever come back, this means that this city is completed, and this would be not good for the play with the blue meeples unless blue somehow finds a way to sneak in 2 guys. This is an option, of course, but it's exceptionally risky. I don't think he's going to do that. Okay. And then let's say if this gets blocked and we lose the 15 points, and we still lose the 7 points, the 8 points from this monastery, we lose 23, we lose 17, and we lose 38. But still, all is not lost, because we're going to get some 12 points extra by completing these cities, more probably, like 14 at least. And then this is what, minus 20. And then we just invade the field, and the field can easily be 20-something points. Yeah, I quite like this. And I absolutely love this here move by David. What an amazing find. Taking a road, obstructing this here guy, just absolute beauty and purity. Amazing, amazing. It does, of course, give a city cap option. Like, there are some nasty scenarios how blue can go here with a starting tile, blue can go here, blue can go here, and blue can do all kinds of these wonderful things, but it's going to first of all take a long time, and second, even if it does, like blue already needs city caps in 2 other places. We see that blue uses one of them as a splitter tile, and David is comfortable going for the over-farming route, which I also think is correct. He has 2 places where he can get a meeple back. Daniel Ayala with a jackpot tile. This also does not mean that I did not love that move. I absolutely loved that move. Daniel now needs to start fighting for the field, I think. Going over here, dropping a farmer. It does keep the field fairly closed, but there is another platform over here. So we drop a farmer like this. We try to threaten this here guy. Then we get a curve, drop a farmer over here, connect like this. We're equalized. And then some point down the line, we find a third platform. Maybe we go here with an extender tile. We get a city cap, drop a farmer. Like, as long as we have the long-term meeple advantage, and now we have the equality on this scoreboard, this position is absolutely playable. If I were in a tournament, I wouldn't mind either side here, really. I mean, I would still prefer David, but no, the correct term is I would still prefer green. I would still prefer green here. But if I were playing this as blue, I wouldn't be feeling distraught or anything. Look, blue has the advantage on the scoreboard. Blue gotta drop the farmer. It's every opportunity. Like, efficiency, man. And David, with some patience, he does not want to get blocked. And so he decides to set up himself an extender tile. Now he is about to get blocked, but he defends. Yeah, I would have... You see, like, for Daniel, this would have been lovely to have dropped a farmer here. I mean, he could still actually do it. He can go here, drop a farmer like this, get a straight line, then invade through here and here. Like, he has the platforms. He can even go here right now if he so chooses. He can also go here and just get a meeple back. He can also go here and block the city just to be super safe. Or he can go here, score 2 points, but create an attacking platform to play a balanced game. Simply equalize this ruin, which would make the whole game strategy a little bit easier, because I was thinking that the game strategy from blue has 2 parts. The part 1 is make the field big enough and then win it, and part 2 is what? Yeah, obviously these are 2 parts. Make the field big enough and then win it. Duh. Oh, this is nice. Separating the 2 farmers, but then again, with a farmer here, Daniel Ayala would have felt himself much better. Yeah, and look at Mr. Lord here, trying to now do some cover-ups. Daniel now probably going to go here and start invading things. Yep, and just in time as David finishes his city. But you know what? If I were David, I don't think I would have done this. I think I would have even considered doing something like this, because I don't want to lose the field. Daniel invades at the bottom, takes 3 points, and Daniel can now get himself a 3rd farmer. Super easy. He decides not to drop a farmer yet, because his plan is not to overfarm. His plan is to simply... invade like this and just keep the majority geometrically, because he still has a 2-to-1 majority. Mr. Lord has only 1 meeple anyway. Alright, so the invasion probably occurs, but now David has shifted his strategy. Now he really wants to just finish his city, which forces Daniel into this here move, and look how timely it was. As a 10-point city was waiting to happen, so Mr. Lord is forced to just take points on the left, further making his road vulnerable. Daniel with a quick point move of his own. I don't think as this guy we ever finished that city, actually. Oh no, we go here. Yeah, we connect to the field, right? I think this is the way to go. And then now we are shifting back into this original strategy that I was talking about, that Daniel's idea now got to be make the field big enough. That's step 1. And step 2, win the field in any order. Because with the whole making it big enough, right? So if we invade the ruin, which we now can't, then we only need to win the field. Because the field is big enough by definition. But now, since we have the 6 points on the scoreboard to overcome the monastery, to overcome the secondary field, which basically cleans off some of the cities from our field, we can just ignore everything that's here. It's 0 points almost. And then we have to outrun what? 15 points from this ruin. Okay, 16 points in the long term. Our tile goes here. So this is a lot of outrunning to do. This is 30 points actually. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, and besides these cities, the farm is only worth like 15. Yep, and Daniel, that's why he chooses to go here as well. Mr. Lord gets himself a meeple back, opening his ruin for potential invasion, but Daniel is a bit short on meeples, and he's going the city cap route anyway, so I think his plan is just to, again, outrun the ruin. And then maybe his plan is to get another one of those, get a meeple back, then allow green into the field, but drop yet another farmer somewhere to just preserve the majority. And LordTerrycloth gets himself the coin flip, which honestly I had even forgot about. I forgot that that was even a thing. But yeah, with that, it will be very hard for Daniel. So now I think a shift in strategy again. I mean, it's still possible. He can now go over here, limit this to 50-50. And then if he just can get some meeples back, he can now invade his ruin through a triple city tile. Even though there's only one remaining. Well, this is not great, isn't it? Oh, okay, I can see, yeah, because there are only 2 tiles left here anyway. Not much worth blocking. Green's now going to go over here with either orientation, try to block the city. And look at the time here. David with 10 minutes on the clock. Daniel with only 2. Yeah, David has all the time in the world to try and count all the city caps and see which blocking is more effective here. A complete block is not possible at all. If we go here, there's still at the very least a rose, but no starting tile notably. If we go here, there are a couple of vanillas. I guess this guy needs vanillas in 2 places, so that could be, it could be okay to restrict it like this. But then there are also extenders, right? 2 of them available for some nice 8-point sausage cities. I generally don't know what's correct here. Let's let David decide. The correct move depends on how far we think we are ahead in this position. So, let me tell you. So if you go here, it kind of allows the worst case scenario a bit more easily with an extender and a city cap. But if we go here, we take away more tiles from our opponents immediately. Yeah, I get this, and oh, with this dagger, of course, then this is easily the best move. Well, not easily, it still requires calculation, but very nice find, and also very nice time management from David. Figuring out that we gotta wait here. Daniel dropping a city cap, maybe a little bit inefficient. David starts a new city, maybe doesn't even bother. Oh, David now is going to enjoy this 6-point monastery a lot. Daniel finishes his 8-pointer here and expands the field as well. And you know what? This is really worth something. Straight line for David. Gets himself a meeple back. He's considering placing another meeple on the road, figures that it's not worth being so greedy. Daniel at the top, creating an opportunity to finish his city and invade the 9-point field, well, the 6-point field, but soon to become a 9-point field of LordTerrycloth. But LordTerrycloth gets himself an equalizing tile. I'm sure he can count city caps with 8 minutes remaining. I'm sure he knows that there's a rose tile still available at the very least. And no vanilla. And no dagger. Yeah, just a rose tile. But still, with a lead that we have, it's probably worth to just take care of that city. We do have the ruin, we still have the monastery. I think Daniel's game is still alive, interestingly, nonetheless. So he has 8 completed cities on the field, which means that 6 completed cities which are unshared by farmers, so that's 18. Almost enough to compensate the scoreboard, but let's say Daniel with a meeple equalizes the ruin. Oh, but David's stinginess is now going to bite him. There's still 2 Doritos. David, what are you doing? Daniel's just gonna pre-build his city, right? Daniel's just gonna go here, drop a farmer even for good measure. Yeah, just do it. Brilliant move from Daniel. David now connects all the fields. Daniel with a monastery. Probably could go here, score some points. And yeah, the reason for the farmer is just efficiency, because we want to get this guy and drop a farmer as well. Mr. Lord scores the quick points for the road, which should, I think, win him the game. But Daniel now finishes this here city. So David was playing here with fire a little bit. And now a road for David is going to go here for 4 points, or here for 4 points, which is a bit more precise probably. Still going to be massively ahead. And I think the 2 remaining tiles are a Dorito and a triple city or something like this. Yeah. Which also meant that from Daniel's perspective, it was actually still possible to equalize this ruin. Yeah, so maybe this monastery is not exactly what he wanted. Anyway, but this 12-point city is going to be something. Like, it's going to make things reasonably close. Maybe even a bit too close for comfort. Let me think about this. So 21 is the advantage of Daniel on the fields. No, maybe more. Yeah, 21. Yeah, he's still losing by a little bit because of the ruin. 4-point road comes down for green. 4-point city is about to happen for blue. And a 3-point city or a 3-point field is going to be occupied by the British master. Knowing David's aesthetics, I'm not surprised by the choice of a 3-point city. Especially, you know, like if you're playing a fieldless game, then you really want to make your win fieldless. This one did feel quite exciting. Now, it may have felt that David had the advantage from start to finish, but Daniel genuinely had his chances. And I think strategically, Daniel's choice was very sound, just trying to create a big field. It's just the advantage. The advantage that David had was so big that it didn't quite work out. 10 points, which is like not that much if you think about this. Good luck in the other bracket is saying LordTerrycloth, of course, reminding that Daniel was not eliminated. He's just sent to the loser bracket. from which if he loses again, then he will be eliminated. All right, time to wrap up the day. So first of all, let's have a look at our winners here. Oh, wait, let's see. Oh, wait, also, how did my teammate play? Please tell me that my teammate won. Oh, Nepal lost 2-0 against the Polish expert. Well, that's too bad, so now he gets sent to the losing bracket. Okay. So. Nope. Filter. Alright, so Tomaszek is now going to be playing David. And I really hope that David just avenges my teammate. And Nepal is probably going to play against Daniel Ayala. Yeah, that would make the most sense, of course. So they go over here in the first round of the losers bracket. Not the easiest opponent for my teammate, but as you just saw, Daniel Ayala is very much beatable, especially if you get some good city caps to begin with. So Group D. Tehran, after a 3-point win over Mingo, that was quite the thriller, will be playing against the Doctor in the upper semifinals. This should be quite the banger. And Sunny Fanatical Lime. Oh, no, never mind. Yeah, this was already set up. Yeah, and Leuschi is going to be playing against Steven Chang. Yeah, as you mentioned before in the chat. This should be also quite interesting. I think Steven is going to have the advantage as the master between the two. Alright, so now what are we going to do? Let's just have a look at the matches that are going to be scheduled in the near future, and I'm going to give you some streaming plans. In all likelihood, I actually will be able to show you this. The first match that's going to be on this stream from Q2, this is a qualification for newer Carcassonne nations, and so with that, it could be interesting. And also, these are probably going to be games with a bit more mistakes than normal, but those are always more fun to watch because you have swings, you have unpredictability. Then, as for the other two, I'm not quite sure. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to cover Lloyd versus Phosphate. In fact, I'm almost certainly going to cover that. And then maybe Sunny versus Fanatical Lime from Q1, unless either Otto or Ice Maze pick that one up. Well, actually, the timing is not that great. I think I'm going to cover that one because 11 p.m. in Finland could be a little bit too late for Otto, and 10 p.m. in Germany could be a little bit too late for Ice Maze, so for me it might as well be just perfect. So yeah, so I'm gonna see you all tomorrow in all likelihood, but the streaming announcement is always going to become at short notice. I'd like to wait until all the matches are scheduled, and matches are scheduled at a short notice. There are going to be a lot of matches this week, so the best way to keep track of the streams is to subscribe and click the notification button, and of course, as usual, make sure to meeple the like button. That helps with the algorithm a lot. Probably going to see you tomorrow for a short one. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'm going to see you soon.